A correction, if you please. There will be no second hour today, either for the children or for the adults. Parents were asked that if they wanted childcare today to let the Director of Religious Exploration know that, and she did not receive any requests. So for the children here, they are invited to stay with their parents during the meeting. It will not be a terribly long meeting. The purpose is to approve our budget, operating budget for the coming year. So please, all of our members, please stay. Afterwards, of course, we'll have some coffee and some light refreshments, perhaps, and kind of a meet and greet. And we also invite any visitors that we have this morning to stay and learn a little bit about how we operate as a faith community. I have another announcement from Gil Brown. He says, don't forget about this week's First Thursday potluck at 6 p.m. And as you know, if you've gone, there's a spiritual question that we talk about and get input on as we eat or after we munching on our desserts. What are your strategies in recovering from emotional pain? Very thought-provoking. So if you have any questions about it, please contact Gil. Gil, his hand is up in the back there, and he'll be happy to fill you in on everything. And now we will have the prelude that prepares us for our service today. Lorelei, will you come and light our candle, please? In a time of uncertainty, when everything around us is changing constantly, each day new developments, rising numbers, changing guidelines, when the world we live in suddenly seems upside down and topsy-turvy, we light our chalice to remind ourselves of our grounding in our faith. We remember that the flaming chalice came into being as a beacon of hope during World War II, a secret symbol that offered help. In the midst of it all, we wrap ourselves in the warm light of a familiar flame, a reminder of the strength that emerges when we come together in community.
Before our call to worship, I would just like to speak a word to our parents in the room. We are planning a child dedication next month, the 19th of May. That's also going to be my last in-person Sunday. And I am very happy to dedicate children of all ages, even if they're taller than I am. So if you have children who have not been dedicated and would be interested in doing that, if you would speak to me today. We just need to know who's going to do it so we can print the certificates. And it's a really lovely experience for the whole congregation. So I hope that we'll have a number of children. We are called to worship, to lift up the sacred and worthy in our lives. We are called to open ourselves to transformation through radical love. We are called to be agents of love and justice for our neighbors. We are called to offer who we are and what we have to help repair the world. We are called to be ever becoming our best individual and collective selves. We are called, we call each other into the blessing and power of this morning. I invite you to follow the text on the screen or to take a gray hymnal and turn to 361. We're going to sing Enter, Rejoice, and Come In, all 5 verses. So get energized, and as you are able, I invite you to stand. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Today will be a joyful day. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Open your ears to the song. Open your ears to the song. Today will be a joyful day. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Open your hearts, everyone. Open your hearts, everyone. Today will be a joyful day. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Don't be afraid of some change. Don't be afraid of some change. Today will be a joyful day. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Today will be a joyful day. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Please be seated.
Now the children are invited to come forth and get a front seat here. And Miss Sarah has a very good story for you today. A poem, I believe.
Is there another microphone, or is this good?
Ooh, we're missing a microphone. Well, you can come up here.
Okay.
Whatever you're, that's fine.
Oh, here we go.
Test, test. All right, this microphone brought to you by UUFEC. Introducing Sarah.
Thank you, thank you. Hey there. So I am the RE assistant, Sarah. And today I'm going to read again from Neil Gaiman's Fragile Things. It's a poem about the change going on around us and how sometimes we get so fixated on one thing in particular that we kind of forget to see everything around us and enjoy the simple things and sometimes the crazy things and all the in-betweens. It's called The Day the Saucers Came. That day, the saucers landed. Hundreds of them, golden, silent, coming down from the sky like great snowflakes, and the people of Earth stood and stared as they descended, waiting, dry-mouthed, to find what waited inside for us, and none of us knowing if we would be here tomorrow. But you didn't notice it because that day, the day the saucers came, by some coincidence, was the day that the graves gave up their dead and the zombies pushed up through soft earth or erupted, shambling and dull-eyed, unstoppable, came towards us, the living, and we screamed and ran. But you did not notice this because on the saucer day, which was the zombie day, it was Ragnarok also. And the television screens showed us a ship built of dead men's nails, a serpent, a wolf, all bigger than the mind could hold. And the cameraman could not get far enough away, and then the gods came out. But you did not see them coming, because on the saucer zombie battling God's day, the floodgates broke, and each of us was engulfed by genies and sprites, offering us wishes and wonders and eternities, and charm and cleverness, and true brave hearts, and pots of gold, while giants fee-fo-fummed across the land, and killer bees. But you had no idea of any of this, because that day, the saucer day, the zombie day, the Ragnarok and fairies day, the day the great winds came and snows and the cities turned to crystal, the day all plants died, plastics dissolved, the day the computers turned, the screens telling us we would obey, the day angels, drunk and muddled, stumbled from the bars and all the bells of London were sounded, the day animals spoke to us in Assyrian, the Yeti day, the fluttering capes and arrival of the time machine day. You didn't notice any of this because you were sitting in your room, not doing anything, not even reading, not really, just looking at your telephone, wondering if I was going to call. All right, now the kiddos can come join us in the back.
Great story. And now, at this time, we have our sharing of joys and concerns. If you have a joy, concern, or an important milestone that you would like to share with us this morning, you're invited to come forth now. Take a pebble in the bowl, place it in the water, and share in a brief way your special joy. And please don't share any medical information about another person unless you have their permission to do so. we have a tradition. Ooh, we have a meditation before our tradition.
We are very proud and very grateful for the opportunity to support the parents and friends of lesbian and gay persons by hosting their meetings on second Sunday nights here. And we will also be hosting an LGBTQ book club and choir that will be led by our own Cal Adams, who's sitting back there. So that's a tremendous, wonderful, and radical thing. Life is busy, life is noisy, life is hard, and life is full of joy. And we bring all of these things and more when we come on Sunday morning. So right now I invite you to try to quiet your mind and your spirit in some silence. Remember that even as you breathe together, you are connected to all living things, past, present, and future, who will share those same molecules of oxygen. And then I'll close us with a few words by Howard Thurman. In the quietness of this place, surrounded by the all-pervading presence of the holy, my heart whispers, "Keep fresh before me the moments of my high resolve, that in good times or in tempests I may not forget that to which my life is committed. Keep fresh before me the moments of my high resolve." Amen. Shalom. Blessed be.
We have a tradition to share undesignated checks and cash donations with a local charity. This month, we are supporting Opportunity Place in Fort Walton Beach. Opportunity Place provides safe shelter and supportive services for the chronically homeless and those experiencing homelessness due to a negative event or situation that has occurred in their lives. The organization works to find permanent housing for those families who need it. Please be as generous as you are able, and if you're paying your pledge today with a check, please write "pledge" on the memo line. Will our greeters please come forth to accept our donations? I receive, to you I give, together we share, by this we live.
So, what are y'all doing here? According to a Gallup poll released a month ago, only 3 in 10 U.S. Americans attend religious services regularly. For U.S. Protestants, it's 4 in 10. We are living in a post-church attending era. So what on earth are y'all doing here today? Didn't you have better things to do? When I was a young minister, I much preferred to hang out with my unchurched friends than with most Methodists I knew. Even though I was a cradle Methodist, I found that my colleagues and my parishioners were mostly very conservative and right-leaning in their beliefs, and frankly, I was more interested in Jesus' humanity, while they all seemed caught up in the idea of his being divine. And when my unchurched friends asked me why I was a minister, I adopted the response, I couldn't find anything better to do. It sounds flippant, but I was actually very serious. When I began exploring my call, a few trusted mentors said to me, if you can find anything better to do with your life than being a parish minister, go do it. Run quickly and go do that other thing. But I couldn't. I couldn't find anything better to do. I discovered meaning and motivation in the context of church, a place where I could bring hope and support to hurting people. I could use my particular skill set to be of service to others, and in that space, help to make the world a better place. So with all my youthful idealism and my feminist determination to make a dent in the very patriarchal environment of professional ministry, I boldly went where few women had gone before. Some years later, I started all over again as a Unitarian Universalist minister. So I get paid to attend church, but what's your excuse? What drew you out of bed on a Sunday? What led you to set aside your gardening, your playtime, the beach, the tennis court, the pancake brunch, the deferred housework, and other responsibilities? What are you doing here? When I was a little girl, I went with my mom and brother 1 or 2 weekends each month to visit my grandfather in Coatopa, a very small place in west central Alabama. After the post office grocery store burned down in 1971, they even took down the flashing yellow signal light as well. So if you drove down Highway 80, you might not even realize you had just sped through Coatopa. There were 3 churches, a Methodist, a Baptist, and a Presbyterian, all small clapboard structures with hard, bare pews and no air conditioning. They hired circuit riding ministers who each preached once or twice a month on a rotation. Grandpa was actually Episcopalian, but his church was 8 whole miles away, much too far for regular attendance. He liked to see his neighbors and could tolerate almost any sermon, so he thought nothing of attending all 3 churches and took us on our visiting weekends to whichever one was meeting on that particular Sunday. Well, there were some logistical differences, such as going forward for communion with the Methodist and passing the bread to the Presbyterians. They all seemed very much alike to me. We kids had to sit still and behave through long, boring sermons. Nothing like mine, of course. Allowed to move, only gently waving those paper fans advertising the local funeral home. We went to church because Grandpa wanted us to. Why are you here today? If you were visiting for the first time, you must have come looking for something. New friends, like-minded, religiously liberal folk, a deeper meaning in your life, grist for your intellectual mill, a place to raise your kids apart from the heavy local influence of evangelical Christianity. If you've been coming a while and have made the commitment of membership, then you've become invested in what we are doing here. You've learned that this is more than just a pleasant, stimulating way to spend a morning. You're pretty clear that attending the Sunday service is not about saving your immortal soul from the damnation of the fires of hell. Wow, did the minister just say fires of hell? In here? Oh, my liberal, enlightened heart just skipped a beat. Consider this. Attending this service is about individual and collective transformation. We come to learn, to grow, to remember to live out of our best selves. We're a pretty smart bunch here. Most of us have been through therapy at least once. A lot of us feel fairly self-actualized, self-realized, religiously sanitized. And it may not have occurred to everyone that coming here is not just about you and your family and how you benefit. Your presence affects others. They came hoping to see you, to talk to you, to learn from you. If you don't show up, you miss something, and you take something away from the others. That life-making transformation cannot happen. Now, we don't do guilt here, and I'm not trying to make anyone feel bad. I know everyone has Sunday morning conflicts from time to time. I just want each of you to know how very important you are. I want you to understand that you are vital to keeping this fellowship healthy and the mission thriving. I don't know how to say it strongly enough. The Panhandle of Florida desperately needs a thriving Unitarian Universalist presence. Oh boy. We offer a hopeful haven to social and religious liberals who are struggling to find a safe space to express themselves and explore and learn. Radical conservatives are picking away at our freedoms, and we UUs play a vital role in standing up against this tyranny. Injustice and marginalization of our neighbors is happening every day. If we aren't here to speak against injustice and for equity and shared power, who will do it? Being here is a brave and radical choice every Sunday that you show up. Your membership commitment means making sure these doors are open every week and playing your part in providing all these wild and wonderful ministries. This is an extraordinary, world-changing way to spend your personal resources, your time, your effort and skill, your financial resources. This UU fellowship must continue. You must thrive and grow to keep standing up for what is right and just. You are a continual collective work in progress, ever becoming a place for folk to engage in their personal, free and responsible search for truth and meaning, ever becoming a respite for the spiritually injured and recovering, ever becoming a launch point for the marches for justice and the work of liberation, ever becoming a resource to equip those finding new ways to repair our broken world. Please do not underestimate how important what we do here is. To keep becoming, everyone needs to find points of engagement and take on the roles and tasks that make this marvelous fellowship function. We need leaders and doers. If you can lead a team, speak up. If you can co-lead a team, come forward. If you can do a task once or twice a month, sign up. This fellowship runs mostly on volunteer steam. If you want this place open for the radical business of world change, you, even you, must help make it happen. If you believe in our dream of ever becoming part of the answer, then helping out will bring your life more meaning and satisfaction. It has been my great honor and joy to serve as your minister for almost 3 years. I have great faith in this fellowship to continue becoming a more visible, more effective Unitarian Universalist beacon for all seeking a place for truth and facts, for faith and science. I urge you to answer the call to help in big and little ways to make it available in this corner of our country. Each of you is so important. Your contribution is so necessary for this Unitarian Universalist fellowship and our ever becoming a more effective means of repairing the world. Amen. Shalom. Blessed be. Would you find a teal hymnal or direct your attention to the screen? We're going to sing hymn number 1018, 1018. Come and Go With Me. We'll sing all verses as you are able. I invite you to stand.
We have a calling in this world. We are called to honor diversity, to respect differences with dignity, and to challenge those who would forbid it. We are people of a wide path. Let us be wide in affection and go our way in peace.
Siblings and kindred, we are ever becoming. Let us embrace the process of becoming our best selves, doing our best work, and repairing our broken world. Let us go in peace and remain for the congregational meeting after the postlude. Amen.
And now our meeting.